You never know what's going to happen when things go on here on the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show live. I'm your host, David Burrows, this week. And I say that because we always have some great guests that join us every week. And I've got some fantastic guests, again, joining us from our community here in Sarnia, Lambton. And looking forward to sharing some of that with you coming up in just a few moments. First, I see we've got one of our regulars, Corinder, out there, David. Let's see what he's talking about here. David, one question to ask you. I forgot to ask in broadcasting. How do people like NBA and all the news and games put on Facebook, on TV? What do they use in software? I'm not sure I understand what you're asking there, Corinder, but send me a message and maybe I can help you out with that. Hello, once again, everybody. Welcome to the show this week. When I hear people say things like there's nothing to do in Sarnia, yeah, really? I say that because I just heard it again the other day, and it just amazes me. But there were lots of people that knew something was going on this past weekend. It started off with the Brock Street Barn Bash here at the Sarnia Arena on Brock Street, the Brock Street Barn, and they had a fundraiser as part of the Sarnia Arena Revitalization Project, where they started with the Sarnia Arena on Brock Street. Scott Maneri and the Barn Burners were there. About 700 people attended the event to show their support for the Brock Street Barn Sarnia Arena Revitalization Project. You can see that's Rob Hardwood, Director of Parks and Recreation, gave us some of his time at the Brock Street Barn Bash, and I know he was very, very pleased with the turnout, and there was a lot of support there. The Twisted Arm was there, and proceeds from their from them being there and looking after the beverages. It was being donated to the Revitalization Project and also to Noel's Gift. So that was fantastic as well. And Sarnia Legionnaires were there as well. They were playing cornhole, so they're trying to get warmed up for when the ice gets in there. The Sarnia Legionnaires returning soon. And what a fantastic facelift it has been given out front. They've spent lots of money, new cafeteria area, etc. If you go on our Facebook page, you'll be able to see the live video that I did of the Sarnia Arena down at the Brock Street Barn Bash. And of course, we got Scott Maneri and the Barn Burners in there, real busy toe tapping kind of music. So thanks to everybody involved in that. Congratulations to, everybody getting out. 700 people attending this event, about 700 anyway. So that's nice to see. Great community support. I found it really interesting. I was talking to Rob afterwards, and he was saying how people were looking for posters and they were saving their tickets. This was not just a fundraising event, but a very special event, and obviously meaningful event to people in our community that they wanted to save that. So maybe we should have, I think we should have a barn bash once a month. How about that? Let's see if we can make that happen. All right. Also, some of the other things. Where did I lost my pictures. Gotta love live television. Artscape by the Bay, the 6th year that it happened. Again this year, the 6th year that Artscape by the Bay happened down there in support of Pathways Health Center. It wasn't just art, though. It was animals. And Zoo to You was there. And you can see, I think that was a Chinese rooster that's playing around there. And this fella, man, he got a lot of attention down there from the audience that was there, this kangaroo that was there as part of Zoo to You. And this lizardly looking fellow, it was a fantastic, and I got to get a little further on. Yeah, this ended up on me as I was live. Mike from Zoo to You put the Chinese rooster on my shoulder when we were there. So it really was a fantastic turnout. Yeah, my son Jason there, he was not sure what to make of everything as he was operating the camera, and he saw Mike sneak up behind me. Thanks, Mike. You can find Zoo to You on Facebook. They're from the Windsor area, but they will travel all around. And Mike, very friendly guy, and the animals, all very friendly as well. And I want to say congratulations to Pathways Health Center for Children and their event, Artscape. Again, their 6th year. It's quite a signature event for Pathways. And I'm not sure the numbers yet. I know they had fantastic numbers, record numbers last year. I would look around and see lots and lots of people. Certainly helps that Mother Nature cooperated with us. And I would say that they probably at least met what they did last year. So that's always fantastic to see as well. If the weather holds out properly, and it looks like it's going to, there'll be an outdoor family movie night on August the 21st. That's tomorrow night, and that is put on by Libro Credit here in Sarnia. They put it on every year. Outdoor family movie nights, free event happening down at Canatera Park, so you can bring your lawn chairs, and I got a feeling they'll have some popcorn and goodies there for. I know they're gonna have some activities for the kids as well. So Libro Credit Union, fantastic supporters in our community as well. Again, outdoor family movie night tomorrow night at Canatera Park. Here's a special event coming up, and it happened last week. It's happened a couple of weeks already. I haven't had a chance to get out to it, but it's going to happen again this Thursday, August the 22nd. This is the Sarnia Heritage Society is putting on a walking tour, and Simon Lacoste is the tour guide. It's free to attend. It starts at City Hall at about 6:30, and it's a 75-minute tour of our city. What a great idea. Pardon me for just a moment. I got to clear. All right. It's a tour of the city of Sarnia and a walking tour of downtown Sarnia, and I've been hearing raves about this. In fact, last week, in talking to some folks that attended, they said there was about 100 people that attended this walking tour of downtown Sarnia. So lots to learn. I'm saddened that I'm not going to be able to make this one either, but maybe I can get a personal tour out of it. I don't know. So check that out. And while it is free, they are asking for at least a $5 donation or more, which will support the Sarnia Heritage Committee here in Sarnia. So very good. Rebecca Happy. Hello. Thanks for joining us, Rebecca. Nice to see you out there. And Corinder, yeah, he's out there as well. Appreciate you joining us here. And if you wouldn't mind taking a moment and click that share button as we're getting ready to talk to a couple of our guests up here in just a moment. We want to make sure that everybody's ready to go here. And just before we do, I want to talk about, I get down along that water here in Sarnia. I had an opportunity to get out for a nice boat ride and to get under the Bluewater Bridge and just appreciate. It's just such a beautiful city that we live in. So when I do hear people say there's nothing to do, you just got to go for a walk. I'm telling you. Beautiful with the Artscape was a perfect example of being down by the Sarnia Bay Marina. And there's just so much to appreciate here in Sarnia Lambton. So, and it was really exciting to see all those people out supporting the Brock Street Barn Bash like that. I don't think, they didn't know what to expect. And the reason I know that is talking to Rob. And then also they kept having to bring out more tables and chairs. So when you see them having to bring out more tables and chairs at an event, that's a good problem to have, right? Okay. Well, speaking of other events that are coming up, Hobbyfest. This is another one that has been happening for several years now. I'm not sure how many years, but I know it's been happening for several years. And we're going to probably find out just how many years. We're going to talk to a few people that are getting ready to join us here for Hobbyfest. And this year is exciting as well because it's going to be at a new location. It'll be at Germain Park this year. Well, I think it's a fabulous idea because I have to say, Germain Park is such a beautiful location, and it probably gets forgotten so often because you can't really see it from the road, right? So it's nice to see these activities that are happening in Germain Park. And again, Hobbyfest. And right now, we're going to go talk to our friend down at the Strangway Center, Rebecca Mills, is sitting in the lobby waiting to join us. Hello, Rebecca.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for joining me here.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I didn't know, is Rachel still joining us, or was that a change of plan?
She is, but she's going to actually join us right from the park.
She is going to do that. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Well, you're down. So we're going to wait for her to join us, hopefully in a few moments here. You're down at the Strangway Center. Is that where we're talking to you from?
I am, yes.
Yeah. Okay. What? Tell everybody who you are, what your responsibilities are there at the Strangway.
So I'm the activities programmer at the Strangway Center. So basically help organizing the activities, finding, new things for people to do in the community, finding amazing instructors, which we have lots of. Yeah. And then we also have volunteers that I help organize too.
Yeah, fantastic. It must be, you must be a pretty, well, I know you are because I've gotten to know you, but you're a pretty creative person to be able to keep coming up with all these activities that happen down at the Strangways.
I try to, yeah. We're always looking for, we cheat a little bit and see what's going on in other communities, but that's part of being creative, I guess.
Yeah.
Seeing what the trends are. But yeah, you always have to be on the lookout to see what people are looking for. But it's also, I mean, I can't take all the credit. People come in and suggest things to her.
Sure.
Instructors come directly to us as well.
Yeah. Well, I've always said it's okay to be a copycat as long as you copy a good one.
Yeah, it's a good line.
Let's talk about the Strangway Center, and I do see Rachel is joined us. She's in the lobby, so you're not live yet, Rachel. So we'll let her get to where she's going. I know you and I have talked about this before, but I think it's important to keep putting it out there that this Strangway Center is not just for an older population.
Definitely, yeah. People still think that it's a 50-plus center, but probably for about, I would say, 10 years at least now, we welcome adults 20-plus. Adults 50-plus can purchase a membership that gets you discounts for the center, but adults 20-plus can join us for any of our activities. All
right. So what kind of things would you have for that younger age group?
I mean, like I said, everything is open to it, but the exercise classes, pickleball, those are definitely becoming more popular among younger people. We do activities in the evenings and on Saturday morning to meet other people's schedules. And we have some new activities coming this fall too that really meet that younger age bracket. We're doing pre and postnatal exercise classes, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay. We're getting some questions from our audience that's watching here. Corinder, who's one of our regulars, he's far away from us, but he tends to watch a lot. He says, "Hi, Rebecca. Nice to meet you. One question to ask you. How did you start Hobbyfest?"
That would be a question for Rachel when she comes up. This is her event.
Fair enough. Well, I think Rachel is looking like she's ready. If you're ready, Rachel, give me a thumbs up. She's giving me the nod. Here we go. All right.
Hello.
We got everybody here now. Thanks for being here, Rachel.
Thanks for having me.
You're the traveler today.
I am. The life of a rec coordinator.
Yeah, Rebecca's in the cool spot and you're out in the heat. Rachel, of course, I've talked to you several times, and like Rebecca, we've gotten to know each other quite well over the last little while. But tell everybody that's watching who you are, what you do for the City of Sarnia.
Yeah, so I'm Rachel Veilleux. I'm a recreation coordinator with the city, and specifically I specialize in the festivals and events in the city. So there's about 6 events that I oversee a year, and any community members that want to host an event on municipal property, we meet and we kind of go over the policies and procedures involved in doing so, and that's the bulk of my position. And
that certainly keeps you busy, especially in the summertime.
It does.
You're down at Germain Park right now. Which I don't know if you heard me say earlier. It's great actually to see. Hobbyfest has been in different locations, but it's nice to see it at Germain Park because I think Germain Park gets missed a lot.
It does. I found that even just my own personal self coming out here, actually because of the Strangway Center, just in between classes, it's definitely missed, and it is gorgeous. I mean, the horticulture here is unbelievable, and being Parks and Recreation, we really like to showcase that. So.
Yeah. And kudos to the folks that look after Germain Park, keep it not just cutting the grass. I mean, all the flowers in there. There's every time I know Jennifer and I go there, there's somebody working away, and they're so sincere about their job. I guess they really put a lot of heart work into maintaining everything down there because it really is such a beautiful facility.
It's really nice to hear that. They definitely love their job. They're wonderful at what they do. Definitely all of them have green thumbs.
Yeah. And, and now down there too with Germain Park, there's, we've got some more rocks down there. And I know there was some, was it Mrs. Cox donated a bunch of money that had some flowers put in down there. It's really, it's always been a beautiful park, but it's really been enhanced even more over the last couple of years.
Yes, it definitely has. Even with our summer entertainment series, we've branched out and we have a Music in the Garden mini series that takes place here at Germain with the new stage that's been developed as well.
Yeah, and fantastic. Well, let's. You want to show it off a little bit? Is that what you're trying to do?
Sure. I'm just gonna try and move it. So I'm kind of at the base of Germain. You've got the plane. You can't quite see it right now. Just a bit back there.
You can, sorry, Rachel, just to interrupt. If it's easier for you, there's a little button that you can.
Perfect.
There you go. Now you can walk and talk.
You can see the plane a bit over here. This is sort of the main entrance. So while a lot of our vendors will be in the Strangway Center, many of them will also be outside. So if you just kind of walk through the arbor here and then come out, a lot of our vendors will be actually lined up sort of in this area here, and even actually a couple with the wedding arbor. So just to give a bit of an idea, like I said, it's a gorgeous location, and we're excited to sort of utilize it for this.
Yeah, fantastic. Now you talk about the vendors. How many vendors are you expecting to be down there? How many hobbyists?
Yes, our Hobbyfesters, we've got about 41 of them right now. So
wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we're pretty excited. It's definitely on our high end of participation this year.
Yeah. Now this will be some local groups, but some individuals as well, correct?
Correct. So everyone that participates in Hobbyfest, they are either part of a community club or organization that sort of is looking to recruit new members and showcase their own hobby, or they're an individual or maybe a couple that's showcasing their own personal hobby, or they're someone that's sort of, they enable a hobby. They have materials to help enable that.
Yeah. And this is something for all ages, right? I mean, there's going to be stuff for the little kids and there'll be stuff for us big kids too, wouldn't there be?
Definitely. I think our target audience is certainly young adults to mature adults.
Right.
But absolutely. I mean, we've got everything from horticulture to antique cars to running, belly dancing. Oh, wow. I mean, literally everything. So
belly dancing. Sign me up for that one. Yeah.
You can register on Monday.
Yeah, sure. I'll ask Jennifer if that's okay. I'm just going to, Rachel, I'm going to keep you up there. Rebecca, I'm just going to drop you back down in the lobby for a minute because I want to bring Nancy up here in just a moment. So we talk about our hobbyists, and we've got one here. Nancy Jackson is going to come in and join us now. And hello, Nancy. Thanks for being here.
Hi. It's great to be here.
Yeah. Rachel, or Nancy, before we get started, Rachel, I had a question earlier, and Rebecca, she passed the buck over to you. She said this is for you to answer. But how did you start Hobbyfest?
That's a wonderful question. To be honest, the event started 29 years ago, much before my time. Lynn Bouchard, I believe, was the recreation coordinator at the time, and I can only say wonderful things of what I've heard of her. She started an entire waterfront program that included Hobbyfest, and I cannot speak for her, but I imagine she started it, to try and give an awareness and an inclusion for the public of things to do in the city that, sometimes we often miss or we're not aware of.
Yeah. Because and earlier I was saying there's still here's some people, there's nothing to do. Well, they better, if you're one of those people, you need to get down to Hobbyfest this Saturday.
So one-stop shop.
Yeah. What time does Hobbyfest get started?
At 9 a.m. until 2 p.m.
9 till 2. That's perfect. So you can get up early, go down and do something, and then later you still got time to do the laundry later or something like that, right?
Yeah, there you go. You can even grab a bite to eat. Sorry.
Oh, that's right. There's going to be food down there too?
Yeah, the Rotary Club of Sarnia Bluewater Land, they'll be providing a barbecue as well. So.
Ah, well, Rotary, they get around everywhere. That's fantastic. They're going to be there. Let's talk with Nancy a little bit. Nancy, again, thanks for joining us. What is your hobby?
Miniatures. And so when people hear miniatures, everybody thinks, oh, you do stuff for kids. You make dollhouses for kids.
Dollhouses, right.
No, actually, I do make dollhouses, but it's so much more. And what I do, really, I don't like kids touching. So It's really more for grown-ups. Right. I kind of guard my miniatures. So the thing is that, it's not just dollhouses. Guys have their model trains and that kind of stuff. Anything you're passionate about can be done in miniature. And so that's what I'm trying to push. And that's what I'm going to be giving classes in, is making miniatures that kind of go way past the dollhouse thing.
And you are known as Sweet Somethings Miniatures, right?
Yes, that's right. And
why that name?
Because they're really cute. But this one is actually, I'm starting kind of a creative fantasy class.
Okay.
And so it's anything you are passionate about, anything you dream about, you can do it in miniature. So, for me, for example, I love castles, I like wizards, all that kind of stuff. So I've made a little wizardology shop with 2 heads and, 2-headed skeletons and monster eyeballs and dragon heads. I've done a 4-foot castle with all of the different rooms in it in a pillar. That'll be there at Hobbyfest too, if you want to come see it. And it's even translated into people hiring me to do things like a wedding topper for a cake in miniature, or I just got hired to do a diorama for somebody in Germany that wanted Mari carvings, which is
wow.
So I just finished that. So really anything can be done in miniature that you dream about.
So what are the materials? If I'm going to make a miniature train, what's the materials?
Okay.
What's that look like?
Well, you see, that's half the fun, is because I don't like to shop at miniature shops, so I make all of my own parts. Okay. And anybody can learn that. And I just have learned to see things in life and go through hardware stores, thrift stores, or make things from scratch, but things that aren't intended maybe as a miniature, but I turn them into. I made my wizard shop out of a bread box and carved windows in it, and so it's a nice curved old store. You can use anything. I collect little beads and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, somebody throws out a little cap, or I find it on the ground and it goes into my supply. So basically anything.
So how did you get started in this? You just wake up one day and say, "Oh, I want to do miniatures." Like, what drove you to this?
Because I didn't get what I wanted when I was a kid. I wanted a dollhouse. So when I got older, I decided to build one. And it kind of went from there because, I wanted to live on the beach. So I built myself a beach house. And like I said, I wanted a castle. So there I go. I did that. So it's just kind of evolved. And now I'm into more of the fantasy side of it and just letting people build whatever their dream is. And it doesn't have to take up a full, huge space like a dollhouse. It can be a little room that has a scene that's just on a bookcase, or it could be like a centerpiece table for a table or whatever. Wow. So there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with it.
So you're going to be, you said you're going to be, you must have some fans out here. Michelle Hutton says you are pure magic.
Oh, well, that's sweet. Yeah, we've done some stuff together. So.
Oh, okay. All right. So you say you're going to be teaching some classes. Is there when's that going to start?
Basically, as soon as people sign up, I'll be doing it here at my studio. And but just because so few people understand, because it's one-on-one classes, so I'm not waiting for a class of people. I'll just do it one-on-one and help them build whatever their dream is. Okay. And, is
this your first year at Hobbyfest, or?
No, I've done Hobbyfest a few times.
Yeah. What is it about Hobbyfest that is there? What's the atmosphere like?
I really like it. There's so many things that are all online or people staying at home. I really like the idea of really getting involved in something and getting other people involved and hanging out and, building relationships and conversation over it. So fantastic.
Well, I'm going to do my best to get down there and check out Hobbyfest, and I'll make sure that I come by your booth. Do you have a booth number? Do you know where you're going to be?
I know I'll be in the Stringway Center, but I don't have a number as far as I know.
Okay.
Maybe Stringway Rachel Center, can answer that.
We can, yeah, because she probably knows the numbers top of her head.
Mm-hmm. Working on it.
Working on it.
Yeah, but I'll be in the building just because I don't want things to get wet, just in case.
You definitely will be.
It's nice and cool in there anyway, so I'll come see you first.
Exactly.
Nancy, anything else you want to add before I let you go?
Nope, just come see it. It's hard to explain on here, but if you come see it, I'll have lots of examples. So
okay, Nancy, thank you so much for joining me here on my show today, and we'll look forward to having some fun with you this Saturday at Hobbyfest.
Sounds great. Look forward to seeing you.
All right, take care. Perfect. Nancy's there. We're going to bring Rebecca back into things as well. So you two awesome ladies are getting ready for this event. I know you both work so hard at keeping this, these kind of things, activities and whatnot happening. What is it for you? I know both of you really enjoy what you do as well, so you must get some pleasure out of all this.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I love it. I love the people we work with, our colleagues, and I love meeting so many new community members. I mean, every single event that we run is unique. There's a different target audience, and like I said, different vendors, and it's an amazing experience to be able to work with all these great people, and they're all right here in the Sarnia-Lambton community.
Yeah, Rebecca.
Yeah, I have to totally agree with that. For me, it's definitely the people, and especially at Strangway, it's really cool because we see people, on a couple times a week, that sort of thing. So you really get to know people, especially the volunteers and that sort of thing. It's awesome getting to know them and knowing their story. And yeah, right. I really love it.
We've got what you're definitely getting kudos. Rob Hardwood is watching the show. He says Rebecca and Rachel are awesome. Rob, I couldn't agree with you more, buddy. So that's
dedication because he's on vacation right now.
No
yes,
kidding.
yes, he is. I
Good job.
The other day. So, and Rob works really hard too. So I know he always talks about having a great team to work with as well. And Rebecca, you mentioned they're especially at the Strangway Center. I don't get there as often as I'd like, but when I do pop in, like the cafe that's in there, for example, it's such a warm and welcoming place. It
is. Our volunteers make it so warm and welcoming, and it's great. Anybody can come into the cafe. It's open Monday to Friday, 11 to 1, and it's really affordable. You can get a sandwich for $4 and, meet some new people, that sort of thing. It's a great place to go to.
I love it because when my wife gives me my budget, I can tell her I can go out there 3 times in a week. Really, it really is true. It's a fantastic place, and I'll have to get back down there for lunch again soon, and I'll do my best to get out and see both of you this week. Thank you both so much for joining me here today. I'm glad, Rachel, I'm super proud of you because you got through this technology thing.
It sounds really bad, doesn't it?
No, you did fantastic.
My phone hasn't died yet, so it's good.
That's good. That's fantastic.
Thank you for coaching me.
Yeah, no problem. I look forward to seeing you, ladies, and I appreciate you taking time out of your get back to work now.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. We'll see you Saturday.
Okay, thanks. Rebecca Mills and Rachel Veilleux, both always a joy to talk to, and I've interviewed them both several times, but they're so creative and they're very sincere about their jobs and what they're doing, and they work very hard at creating all these activities here in the city of Sarnia. So thank you, Rachel and Rebecca, for all you do. And get down to Hobbyfest this Saturday, 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. This year at a new location. Hobbyfest will be at Germain Park here in Sarnia. Beautiful, beautiful park. We have so many beautiful parks here in Sarnia, but Germain is often a forgotten one. So I think it's a smart choice that they've decided to have it this year at Germain Park. So Hobbyfest, about 40 vendors. If you don't have something to do, now you do. And maybe you'll find a new hobby that will keep you busy so that you've always got something to do. There you go. Lots of things happening in Sarnia Lambton here. So thanks again to my guests, Rachel, Rebecca, and Nancy, who's going to be there as well with her miniatures. And she'll be inside the Strangway Center in the cool location. So make sure you stop by and say to her, hello to her as well. All right. Well, moving on to my next guest, I got to tell you, this is going to be an exciting conversation because this young man has a lot of energy, and we're going to bring him in here right now. This is Dylan Taylor. Hello, Dylan.
How's it going, Dave?
Good, man. Thanks so much for joining me.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I know that you've got some background in boxing. You're with the Bluewater Boxing Club, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And you're getting ready to head down to Guelph to do a fight. Is that correct?
Yes, I fight in Guelph this Saturday.
All right.
Saturday night.
Okay. So how old are you now?
I'm 21.
21. Okay. So how long have you been boxing?
Well, to start with, my grandparents had a boxing club, so I always grew up in the gym.
Okay.
Competing-wise, I've been competing for the last 8 years. About 2010 I started competing.
All right. What is it about boxing? I always kind of, ask this question, let's get in a ring and, fight. What is it about boxing for you that attracted you to the sport?
I just always grew up in the gym. As a kid, I grew up in the gym. It wasn't I went to daycare. It was go to the boxing club with grandpa type thing. So I was always at club shows, always growing up. My family never pushed me to compete. I kind of just started on my own.
Got into your blood, eh?
Yeah, my grandpa had 120 fights back in his day. My mom, my mom competes and all that too, and she's had about 40-something fights now.
Wow.
So it's always been in the always ran in the family and stuff. So
okay,
just slow, kind of just got into it.
Yeah. Okay. And was that club local?
Yes, it was. It was River City Boxing Club. It was at the River City Vineyard there.
Oh, okay. So your dad is
Tim Taylor.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh, I never even Taylor didn't even connect to me. I've met your dad before, and your mom.
That's right. Okay. And my mom's Mandy.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, okay. Tell him I said hello. What's this picture here that we're looking at?
This one here is This was my second fight with Bluewater. This is a picture from a couple of years ago.
Right.
That was. I believe I did win that fight.
Right. Okay. So how many fights have you had competitively to date then?
66.
66. And how far do you want to go with this boxing? Is this something that's going to stay with you forever, or do you want to go pro, or do you want to – where are you going?
I've always had, like, the dream to go pro. It's not – now it's more – boxing is more of a hobby, but I've taken it more – like, for the last couple of years, like, I've been working and stuff, and I haven't taken it as serious. Right. But now this year I have taken it, like, a lot more serious. Like, I'm down, like, 30 pounds again. Like, okay. I'm fighting at a better, like, a weight class I should be fighting at now. And, like, who knows now? Like,
right.
If they do go pro, then sometime it happens. If not, well, like, I'll always be a part of the gym. Right. No matter what. Like, if I'm not fighting, then I'll want to get into the coaching for sure.
Okay. When you do you see yourself coaching at some point? Is that an area that you'd like to get into?
For sure. I like working with people, like showing them like stuff that I like, because I've been around the sport for a long time. I like showing them what I know too, right?
Sure. How do you coach somebody? I mean, I know it sounds like maybe an easy question to answer, but I mean, there's really a lot of, it's not just a physical thing to be able to coach somebody, right? There's a lot of mental thinking that goes on in this game. Is that right?
Yeah. Like the more someone is interested, the easier it is to coach them. If someone's not as interested or something, then it's not as easy. But if they are interested and they like adapt to it very well, then it is easier, I guess.
Yeah. Do you ever see, like, I know, talking to some other people in the boxing world and from the club, sometimes a young fellow will come into this, and there's a way to, like, there's a proper way to box, right? But then there's sometimes maybe some street fighting comes into that has to be controlled.
Yeah, like there's like obviously your boxers, and then you have your people that are brawlers. Like it all depends on who you are and like your style of like not everyone's the same fighter. Not two people are the same fighter.
Yeah, and is it hard to take that person and mold them to, they're like I say, they're just like the street fight thing, but to mold them into a boxer, that must take quite some time.
Like I said, it depends on who you are and like how interested you are, I guess. And like I said before, the more interested you are, I find it is easier. It's easier for them to like learn, or easier for you to learn.
Right. Who coaches you?
I got a few coaches. There's Tom Hennessy, Wade Fleming, and Chuck Evans.
Oh yeah. Okay. Very good. Well, Tom and Wade, we hear about them a lot. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
So did you fight at the Banger and the Hangar there?
No, I was currently away at work for that. I wasn't in Sarnia for that.
Oh, okay.
I was in Quebec at the time.
Oh, were you fighting in Quebec, or were you just happening?
No, just for work.
Oh, okay. That was an exciting event.
Oh yeah, I was pretty bummed. I was pretty bummed out to not be able to compete at that, but
I bet. Well, there'll be more coming up from with the little birdies that keep telling me there's more coming. So maybe I'll get that opportunity.
For sure.
Heading down to Guelph this weekend. So who are you taking on?
His name is Aldo Oshie, I believe his name is. He's from Burlington.
Okay.
Like I haven't been around this sport like as much with work and all that the last couple of years, so I haven't really seen many people compete. But I feel good going. Like I know what I'm going into, but not too sure like think it should be good. I feel good going in. I've been working hard, and this is like the best shape I've been in a long time.
So how much training, how much training? Lots, obviously, but what's your routine? Like how many hours a week would you need to put in when you say, okay, I'm taking on a fight? How many months do you have, and how much time in a week do you put in?
All depends. Right now it's summertime. I could say I've like not as much as I would.
Okay.
I could say that it's
when it's nice outside, it's hard to want to be in the gym,
and it's harder too, like with the gym not being open as much in the summer and stuff. But like when training for a fight, normally like I work out 3 times a day usually.
Okay.
I like 3-4 hours a day putting in working out and stuff. About 5-6 days a week.
It's a big commitment.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Good for you. I see another picture up here. Looks like you're holding your hands high. What's that about?
This was my first fight coming back this year. So like I fought back in December, and after that I didn't think I was gonna fight again. Like I just kind of lost all the passion for the sport, and then I ended up getting it back, and I lost a bunch of weight. I think I lost about 20 pounds or so for this.
Okay.
And so it was my first fight coming back and not fighting for like almost 5-6 months or something like that. And this is like what got started for this year. So this is back in May, I believe. All right.
We've got, I'm just going to go to our audience here for a minute. Our friend Corinder, he said he used to box. And what's he saying? Oh, 66 more than, he did 34 fights. He's also asking do you have an Instagram?
Yes, I do. It's DTaylor1659.
DTaylor1659. All right, there you go, Corinder. So you just got yourself. You're closer to pro. You got a new fan.
Oh, that's perfect.
And then we've got another one here. This black and white.
That's the same. That's the same picture. That's the same fight as the picture with my hands up there.
Okay. And you said that was what you won that one, obviously.
Yes,
right?
I did. I won that one, a unanimous decision.
Yeah. It's obviously the goal is to win the fight, and of course we always feel good when we win, and worse when we lose. But when you win a fight, do you usually somebody's videotaped you, usually the coach or somebody. Even when you win, do you still go back and go, but what could I have done better, or do you tend to walk away and go,
sure.
I did that?
I always watch my fights. Like I watch them. Like I can say like my fight that I fought on last Saturday, I've probably watched that already 10 times, just seeing like different things I can work on. Seeing like, okay, I made a miss, that I could have done this. Like you're always watching, looking at little things, win or lose. So
yeah. Do you take criticism well? Because you have to from your coach.
For sure. Like if someone says I need to like switch something up or change it, I don't just ignore it and let it go. Like I always try to work on it best I can. Right.
And who's this here with you?
This is my opponent from last weekend. Okay. So we fought first 2 rounds were really close. He ended up he won a split decision, and like I felt like I did enough to win the first round. Second round he won for sure, and third round I took over the fight. I won the third round for sure, but it was a close fight, and like win lose I don't care. Just I don't get to fight as much as I used to, so I don't want to make up excuses or complain about it. I fight next weekend. So
yeah. So how many fights would you do in a year then typically?
All depends. Right now I've had 5. See, with my work, I work 6 months out of the year. I do 28 days on, 28 days off.
What do you do?
I work on a Coast Guard ship.
Okay.
So I'm limited. I got a whole month off. So like I try to get as many fights as I can. Like I was supposed to have 3 this month, but now I only got 2. Like I have supposed to fight August 11th in London, but I ended up went through 3 different opponents.
Okay.
All of them had different injuries or something.
Yeah,
so
that happens a lot.
Yeah. Right? So then I was supposed to fight this weekend. That got canceled. Then 2 days before, they asked me if I wanted to fight again or have a fight, and I was like, sure. And then I got one the same day for this weekend coming up. So I still get 2 fights this time off, which I'm happy about.
Right on. Right on. Must get frustrating if you're like, oh, really? Am I gonna miss out on this fight that I've been training for?
And it's hard to being gone, like seeing like tournaments and all that, or like even like the show in Sarnia. I couldn't even fight in my hometown because I was gone for work.
Yeah.
But
you got to pay the bills, though, right?
Oh, for sure.
Corinder's asking again. He wants to know, have you got a title for yourself? Like you said, he had a title for me. Do you have a nickname? I guess is what he's looking for.
No.
You're just Dylan Taylor.
Yep.
That sounds powerful enough.
Yeah, well, maybe something else. Maybe something down the line, but not right now.
Yeah. You're feeling good, obviously. You say you're in really great shape. You've been working hard for this fight. Earlier in our conversation, though, before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you, you said, I wasn't doing anything with the sport. I kind of got off track. And you get off track. How did you get yourself back on track? Was it just work getting in the way, or what happened there?
Well, I had my father pass earlier on this year.
Right.
So I kind of just got back into the boxing. Someone told me to get back into fighting, so big things will happen. And I got fights set up when I was at work. And I got fights set up for my time off.
Right.
And when I was working at that, I got asked if I wanted to go to Puerto Rico, and I ended up going to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And fought Puerto Rico's top guy for the Olympics this year.
Right.
And all this was back in May, and now things I don't know, things are really going really good. I'm fell in love with the sport all over again. I really lost it for the last couple of years, and now it's totally I got it. Feels like I just got it back, and I'm back in a good weight class. I'm fighting 152 again. I'm not fighting these guys 175, 165 pounds.
Right.
There's a big difference.
Timing, I guess, is of importance in this sport too, I suppose. Being ready and, like I say, being mentally prepared as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, Dylan, thanks so much for joining me here on my show today. I was glad I could reach out to you. And actually, I should say thanks to Wade from the Bluewater Boxing Club who put us in contact. So good luck down there. It sounds like you've been working hard on it, and you'll have to let us know how you made out so we can tell everybody.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Dave. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
There's Dylan Taylor, the Bluewater Boxing Club. He's getting ready to head down to Guelph for another fight. Sounds like he's pretty motivated and excited to get down there and get back in the ring. So, of course, because we're from Sarnia, we're rooting for him. So thanks again, Dylan. And we wish you all the best. And Corinder out there says, good to meet you, Dylan. All right. Okay. Well, you think most people don't like to get up in front of an audience and talk, and they don't like to get in front of a camera typically. And I just did it. I said or or and, or what did I repeat myself so many times? Well, there's a group out there that wants to help you with that. And you may or may not have heard of Toastmasters International. And we've got somebody from River Speaks Toastmasters. Jonathan Webb is here in our lobby, and I think he's about ready to come join us. Hello, Jonathan.
Hi, David. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks so much for joining me here today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. It sort of came up last minute. I know it was Julie Jenkins was sharing a special event, and I said, hey, that'd be cool to talk about. And she sort of put us in touch, and here we are. So how long have you been a part of Toastmasters?
I've been a Toastmaster now for 2 years.
Wow, okay.
It's a blast, actually.
And what, sorry?
It's been a blast.
It's been a blast. Well, what about it has been a blast?
Well, if you're new to public speaking or you have to speak in front of a crowd, everybody's familiar with the butterfly effect, right?
Yeah.
You have butterflies and all this energy that builds up into you. What Toastmasters has helped me to do is to get rid of that nervousness.
Yeah, that's I go through that a lot, actually, even with what I do here on the show. I can probably interview people on the radio easier than I could on video. People start thinking, oh, people are looking at me now, and how do I sound? And, is my hair done right? And all that sort of stuff, right? What kind of things does Toastmasters do to help us get over that?
So it gives people opportunities to speak in a non-threatening environment. Really, you're with a club, and everybody at that club is focused on improving their own skills in speaking in public. And so you're all there trying to work on the same skill. And I think it gives a disarming environment for people to practice and to try different things. And once you become more comfortable with communicating, then naturally the nerves will go away because you have more confidence in your skills.
Yeah. The nerves is a big part of it, or the confidence, or we like to say camera confidence in the live streaming world. But I still get nervous. I've been talking for 30 years, right, in front of big audiences, singing and talking and emceeing and all that stuff. But instead of the nerves that I have now, though, I tend to call it professional anxiety. You're wanting to do your best. You want to make sure that you're going to give the show, if you will, that or the presentation that you've worked so hard, and you want to impact people typically when you're speaking to them, right? Is it fair to say that we never really quite get over that nerves thing?
It's fair to say you never really quite get over it. But what you do get over is that low confidence that you're going to be able to say something effective. So what it changes into is, can I do the best job that I know I'm capable of doing, versus are people going to understand something that comes out of my mouth?
Yeah. There's been Toastmasters, well, international. I mean, there's some pretty famous Toastmasters out there, champions, if you will. Mohammed, his last name just slipped me. I actually borrowed a piece of, I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. He's a gentleman. He started a speech, and he pulled out a cigarette and was going to light it. And he really got a reaction from his audience. And then they paid attention from that point on. One of the things I notice about presentations is like in the first 10, 15 seconds, that's when you got time to grab your audience right away. Is that how hard is that to do sometimes?
It really depends on the subject, right? Whether or not it's easy for you to come up with that hook to grab attention, or if it's something that's more complicated. But what we do focus on in Toastmasters, and one of the first things that we teach newer members, is you will have success if you memorize and you come up with a very strong opening and a very strong conclusion to whatever speech you do. So if you get that right, then you got their attention, and then everything else after that is relatively easy, because people will be wanting to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. I like how you said it depends on the topic. That's certainly true, because some topics can be more sensitive than others. Some can be even controversial or upsetting topics, right? Is there a way do you teach how to deliver those types of subjects as well?
Absolutely. Toastmasters is a comprehensive education program, and there are a number of different customizable paths for how you could develop as a speaker. So some people want to become more proficient at storytelling.
Okay.
Other people want to become more proficient at maybe professional communications, maybe some of those management discussions that can be difficult to give, or they might want to become more proficient in giving support to others who have been in difficult situations. So depending on how you develop or how you would intend to develop, you can customize your education accordingly.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. That's there's really a lot involved, and there's a lot going on in it. And I just know because I do a lot of presentations too, but there's really a lot going on that stage, if you will, when the presentation happens. Like, you talk about the hook, and then there's the impact and the conclusion. There's all these things that come together. Sorry, what am I trying to say? I'm not presenting very well. How long is the process to bringing that all together when someone comes to Toastmasters?
And just to be clear, you're talking about for them to become a proficient speaker?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say it takes around a year for you to notice a wholesale change in your capabilities, but it can be faster or slower for different people. What I would say is everybody will notice a rapid improvement after 2 or 3 speeches, which you can give very easily within a month. The first speech, for instance, is just come in and talk about yourself for 3 to 5 minutes. Everybody knows themselves, so you just have to come up with something that you would want to say. And then from there, you get some feedback, and then you would grow into your next topics. And where you want to grow and where you want to focus is really something that you will communicate to the club, and they will support you in that effort.
Okay, fantastic. One of our audience members, Kelly, is out here. He's got a question for you. Do you teach breathing techniques? Had a friend talk so fast, he turned red, then blue. Thinks it was a nerve thing, but never asked him. Breathing techniques.
We talk about a number of things when it comes to evaluating or giving opportunities for improvement, and breathing techniques is one of those things where we teach people the power of the pause. So if someone seems to be rushing their sentences or speaking a mile a minute, we would provide an evaluation of the speech, which again is done in a respectful way, to give them examples of how you could slow your speech down. So one thing to do is to, one suggestion would be, when you finish your sentence, wait 3 seconds before you begin your next sentence. So count 1, 2, 3 in your head and then continue on. People will think that the audience will be staring at them and judging them, but in reality, just catching up with what you just said.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and you know, it's probably part of that, to answer Kelly too, probably part of that is nerves. And we got to go really fast so I can get this thing over with. You know, I always tell people when I talk to them, I say, it's just a conversation. Just think you're just a conversation, but nobody's talking back at you. You can say whatever you want. You're in control of the conversation.
Exactly. Another thing that we tell some speakers who sometimes want to speak fast because they think they have a lot to say, we try to focus them in on the basics for what you can say in about 5 minutes. And really, you can only say 3 different types of topics, or you can address 3 different types of topics in 5 minutes. So don't try to do too much. So another way for people to slow down and feel comfortable is all I have to do is say 3 different things about what I want to talk about, and then 5 minutes will have gone by. And it's amazing because the more you do speeches and the more that I do speeches within Toastmasters, I notice I write or prepare less because I find that it takes more time to say what I want to say. And so I say fewer things.
You sort of answered one of my questions that I was coming to was, is there a sort of a standard length of time, like to give a presentation on a topic, or is there too long or is there too short? How do you decide the length?
So there's a variety of different speech times through the education program, but most speeches in Toastmasters are 5 to 7 minutes long.
Right.
Those would be prepared speeches that you would commit to doing at your club, and you can choose to prepare them in any way you would like to. Some people improvise their speech. Some people write out every single word. Some people do a couple of bullets. Some people bring in cue cards. You can do them in any way that you feel comfortable in doing. That's what we encourage you to do. Another thing we do in the club is we do short speeches, something called table topics, where it would be an improvised topic that you would have no idea is going to, what it is before it's presented to you, and then all you have to do is speak about it for 1 minute to 2 minutes. So it works on your ability to speak off the cuff.
Yeah. You sort of brought me to another, when I prepare, I don't write things down. I'm a wing it guy. And I do the bullet points, you know, and sometimes I don't even do that. Sometimes, you know, I've been thrown in a situation where like, oh, you're on stage. When do you need? Oh, in 60 seconds. Oh, do you try to change that in me, or do you go, well, you should learn to write it or do you just work with who I already am?
You start with who you are. Right. So when you start in Toastmasters, you're paired with a mentor, and they will ask you some questions and get to know who you are, and they'll work with the style that you feel comfortable with.
Okay.
Over time, it will develop again into the style that you feel comfortable with. Some people will never get to the point where they want to just improvise fully their speech, but you might get to a point where you can feel comfortable in writing out a speech in under 5 minutes,
right?
Then giving it. It all depends on what type of presenter or what type of personality you have.
Right. So if I want to be the bullet point wing it guy, I can still go with that.
Absolutely, because what matters to us is the quality of the delivered product. So if you don't need to write it out, and you can fully form the thoughts of the speech and how you're going to act out the speech in terms of what type of movements and what type of vocal, I'd say, elevations and pauses you're going to put in for emphasis and effect, then that's the outcome that you're measured on. It's not the preparation, it's the delivery. that matters.
Yeah. How often does River Speaks meet here in Sarnia?
River Speaks meets every Thursday. We meet from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at night, and we're at the River City Vineyard on Minton Street.
Yes, fantastic. And I've got your Facebook, River Speaks TM. That's where you can find out more information about that as well. Is there a cost to join Toastmasters?
There is a cost. It's a nominal cost. For our club, it's just over $100 for a year. And what that gets you is access to all the educational program of Toastmasters International. You can come to any Toastmasters club, our club, or any other club in Sarnia for free, and there's absolutely no obligation as a guest to get a feel for whether or not you would like Toastmasters. Each club is different, and each desire is different. So we welcome guests, and we welcome guests for as long as they want to remain guests. And in fact, guests can have some opportunities to speak within the club without joining or any commitment being made.
Okay.
They want to give it a try on their own. So
I can come and check it out and see what... would I be a hard guy to teach because I've been doing it my way for 30 years?
No, because everybody comes in with their own skills. I joined Toastmasters having given at least professional speeches for at least 10 years before I came in, and I still learn things. There are people that come in with no experience. There's people that come in with a lot of experience. Some Toastmasters have been Toastmasters for 30 years, and how can you think about providing feedback to a person who's been there for 30 years when you've been there for 2? There's always something that, from your perspective, the speaker could have considered an alternative, and that's ultimately what we're trying to provide. And it's more building your tool set over time.
Right. Well, I guess if you're coming and joining something like this, you really would need to come with an open mind of learning. You're like, I'm coming here to learn. Yeah, I'm going to contribute, but I'm really here. What can I take away from all this? And so that's fantastic. Well, I didn't know that's a convenient time for me. I'll have to come check that out. What about people who want to do some motivational speaking, like on a regular basis? They want to do it as a profession. Do you have guidance for that as well?
There is guidance and advanced topics for preparing motivational speeches. We've even had some members in the past who do motivational speaking as their own job on the side, and they practice their speaking skills at Toastmasters, so they'll do different things to stretch themselves, but on the flip side, they'll speak professionally on their own.
And would you help with this is how you get motivational, like how you get jobs and that sort of thing?
That part I'm not necessarily familiar with, but I do know that there are projects where people are tasked with preparing motivational speeches. I don't know. I have not taken that particular path myself.
Right. Interesting. Well, I know you've got a special event coming up here, and you'll probably get me there just because of the location.
We're going to be at the Refined Fool on London Road this Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. It's an open house for Toastmasters and the public. Anybody that's interested in learning more about what Toastmasters is about is encouraged to drop by.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think this is an important, I guess what I'd call you a club, right? Because there's a lot of people out there. I think it could be even as simple as going to a job interview can be really intimidating for some people.
Mm-hmm.
And how do I talk? And is there an age limit? Can I bring, could a 16-year-old come to this with their mom or dad? Or
we've had kids in high school in the club, and that can be particularly helpful for kids that might be shy and need to have that opportunity to speak and to get some feedback and shown what the skills they have that are just natural to themselves to grow confidence. And it works well, but most Toastmasters join after the age of 18.
Perfect. Well, maybe I could be a guest speaker for you.
Really? Absolutely.
I would love to. I'm going to have to. I can't this week. I'm taking vacation, but you're there every Thursday. That's a great night for me.
Thursday at River City Vineyard on Minton Street from 7 to 8:30. But this week we're at Refined Fool on London Road.
7 till whenever.
7 whenever, but we said 9 o'clock.
Fantastic. Well, I wish you a great, successful event, Jonathan, and I appreciate you taking time for wherever you are to join me. So is there anything else you want to add before I let you go?
No, this has been fantastic. And Dave, thanks for having the time on your program for me today.
You're very welcome. Thanks, Jonathan. Well, maybe we'll see you down the road for sure.
Absolutely. Come out and check us out.
All right, Jonathan Webb from Toastmasters International, and specifically River Speaks here. They're at the River City Vineyard here on Mitten Street, and they're having a special event this Thursday. And instead of being at River City, the new Refined Fool out on London Road. If you haven't even been to that place yet, it's a fantabulous location. And I think they said they're going to be out on the patio there, of course, weather permitting, but 7 to 9. And you can kind of get a feel of the River Speaks Toastmasters. And as Jonathan mentioned, if you want to go down there every Thursday, 7 to 8:30, be a guest as long as you like. Feel it out and see if this is something for you. I'm really I've already got it in my calendar. I was cheating while we were talking to Jonathan. I put it in my calendar so that I can get out there and see what I can learn from Toastmasters as well. Wow, the time just flies by here. The full hour has disappeared on us. I want to say thanks to everybody who's been watching here today, Kelly and Corinder and several others who've been watching. Say thanks to my guests, Rachel Veilleux and Rebecca Mills, from the City of Sarnia and down by the Strangway at Germain Park. They're getting ready for Hobbyfest coming up this Saturday as well. And thanks also to Nancy Jackson, who her hobby is miniatures, and she's going to be one of about 40 vendors down at Hobbyfest. And then also thanks to Dylan Taylor, a boxing young man boxing, getting ready to head down to Guelph for another fight. Good luck to you there, Dylan. And of course, just now, Jonathan Webb from River Speaks Toastmasters. That's all the time I got for you this week, everybody. Have a great week and an even better weekend, and I will see you on the show live next time. Bye for now.